But it's not working. The case is flatlining. And that's because Alvin Bragg's approach was to indict Trump first and find a crime later. One problem: there's no crime. And David Pecker's testimony didn't help the prosecution. And it was particularly delicious, I thought, to see how uncomfortable one CNN host got when one of his guests spoke the truth about the case.
He's taking the wind out of the prosecution's sails and showing there was this relationship that had nothing to do with sort of a quid pro quo.
And Beauvais is asking Pecker to confirm that the concept of catch and kill was not talked about at the August 2015 meeting at Trump Tower. That's correct, Pecker says.
Right.
Well, they are getting nervous. The lawfare being waged against Trump seems to be totally backfiring. All day long, media personalities who had hoped that this case was going to help sink Trump were themselves sinking right along with Alvin's case.
Having people be reminded of just how crazy the 2016 campaign was. And it's not clear the impact it will have.
The question is, what does this actually do for voters come November?
Right. The campaign is the courthouse. The courthouse is the campaign.
I'm not sure if you've seen this today, but CNN has caused the panic button to be pushed all over Washington, D.C. today. And it must have really hurt them to say this news about Trump. So what was this news? In their own poll, in their own CNN poll, Donald Trump is crushing Dementia Joe. And we could be looking at a landslide. Meanwhile, they rolled out old Joe to that correspondence dinner last night, and he had this to say about Donald Trump.
I had a great stretch since the State of the Union, but Donald has had a few tough days lately. You might call it stormy weather. What the hell?
That's funny, Joe. Did you see the barking seals in attendance? Oh, they just loved what Joe had to say about Trump. Well, you have to wonder how they felt this morning when they woke up and saw this broadcast on CNN.
A new CNN national poll released for the first time here on Inside Politics Sunday reveals the challenges President Biden faces as he asks voters for a second term. Our new poll, which was conducted by SSRS, finds Trump is leading Biden, who has ample work to do with his base and with independent voters who are breaking to his GOP rival.
Boom! But it gets worse. Hold on a second. It gets actually worse. I can't believe, if you haven't seen this, this is shocking.
A head-to-head race, 49% of voters say they'd pick Trump for president, compared to 43% for Biden.
Watch this.
That's a 9-point Trump advantage with independent voters.
Yep.
Add in third-party candidates, and Trump's lead jumps even more. He has 42% to Biden's 33%. And
remember when everybody was saying that RFK Jr. was actually going to pull votes away from Trump? Well, CNN's own poll, their internal poll, which is probably, it's actually worse than this, shows that Trump is leading by 9 points when you factor in the third party, which is kind of stupid to even show the previous slide because we know there is a third party. So why even show the head-to-head? Because RFK Jr. is in it to win it. So now you can see basically Trump is blowing Biden out, absolutely blowing him out. 9 points at this stage in the election is just crazy.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. gets 16% of the vote. Our poll also underscores the challenges of incumbency and that voters, 4 years later, have a better view of Trump's presidency compared to Biden's.
What? I wonder why. Maybe every time they go to the grocery store or the gas station or pay their rent? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they say, 4 years later, we're doing much worse off.
55% say Trump's time in office was a success, with only 39% saying the same about Biden's presidency. And look at party breakdown, more people are calling Trump's presidency a success now than in January of 2021.
And what that means is his numbers are actually increasing. They're actually getting better. Dementia Joe's numbers are plummeting. I bet you're not laughing anymore, Joe. I bet you this one, if they even told you, shocked you. But who knows? They may not have even shown this information to old Puddinhead. I bet they make a concerted effort to keep bad news away from him. I've told you more than a few times in my videos. I've said it over and over. If I were Dementia Joe or whoever was pulling the strings behind him, I would call all of these prosecutors and say, knock it off, dismiss all these charges, stop it right now. As I've said, I call Alvin Bragg I'd call Jack Smith. I'd call Letitia James. I'd call Fannie Willis and say, pull the plug on all this crap. And now, again, I've been proven right. They've made a huge mistake, and it's only going to get worse.
The left thought that the endless lawfare against former President Trump would effectively neutralize him, obviously take him off the trail, but really hurt him. So Biden essentially wouldn't even have to campaign. The trial would campaign for him.
Little did they know, or actually they should have known, this guy is from New York. I've been saying it over and over. You put a master marketer in a city that he knows like the back of his hand, and you think you are crippling him. It's only going to get worse.
But it's the other way around. This case shows us once again, how dangerous it is for our judicial system to be used as a political battering ram.
Everybody can see it. That's the biggest problem. Everybody, blacks, Hispanics, whites, can see that this isn't fair and doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
You expect the lead witness to really set the table for the jury. But, in both relationships and trials, first impressions matter. What's the first impression here? They've been talking about something not in the indictment, something that's not a crime, and actually their star lead witness seemed to help the president. We're left on Friday wondering, what's the intelligent design here?
I can't imagine being one of the jurors on this case. Unless you completely ignore everything, all the law, all the jury instructions, you'd have to ignore all of it to think that there's a crime here. There are experts who are telling you, and these guys aren't necessarily Trump fans, they're fans of the Constitution, of law. And nobody can sit there and say, yeah, this is wrong. This is a crime. You may not ethically like the fact that he paid off a couple women, if he paid off those women. You may not like that, but there's no crime to it. There is nothing wrong with NDAs. In fact, I bet you if we started looking at more Congress people and other presidents, you're going to find out that it's commonplace.
Towards conviction. And one thing that would help if you would just tell us, what's the crime?
But if you're going to try to take down one of the most formidable political forces America has ever seen.
See, that's the problem. I don't think they thought that. I think they thought that Donald Trump was a buffoon, somebody they could take a punching bag and just treat him like a punching bag. I don't think they thought it out at all how formidable this guy actually is.
You better show up with more than David Pecker, that goofball Michael Cohen, and a few canceled checks.
If you think that's bad, wait till you hear what's going on in the financial markets. There's no good news there either.
And a majority of swing state voters, Matt, see worsening economic conditions in the coming months. So that doesn't spell optimism for the Biden camp. Less than 1 in 5 respondents say they expect inflation and interest rates to be lower by the end of the year. And then
1 in 5. For you guys that may be math challenged, that means only 20% of voters think things are going to get better. And that's just hopium. There's nothing out there that says it's going to get better. They're just hoping that it does.
More than 3/4 say that Biden is responsible for how they feel about the economy, which is in a very good mood.
Ouch. Understand what she just said. They 3/4, 75%. So that means across platform, Dems and Republicans, 75% of voters. Hey, this is, Bidenomics at its best.
More than half said that he is very responsible.
GDP, first look, first quarter, a disappointment.
The annual rate, 1.6% between January and March. The expectation was 2.4%.
Now, those numbers may sound small to you, but in financial markets, those are devastating. Those are bombs that are going off because things are performing so badly in the financial markets.
Is a much lower than anticipated number.
We were expecting stronger growth, as you said, lower than expected.
If we look at the price index, it's higher, 3.1%.
The consumer is slowing down. Inflation remains high.
How do you spell stagflation? Weaker growth, higher price action?
Weaker growth, higher price action. What that means is Your grocery bill, your gas bill, your rent, your mortgage are all going up.
Best of both worlds, really. The stagflation conversation, perhaps back.
Yep.
Stagflation is not a headline that Biden is going to want to see.
Jimmy Dimon warned of the risk of stagflation.
This is what you call stagflation, and potentially, I hate to say that we're there, but when you have a slowing economy and at the same time you have increased prices, it's not a great place to be.
It's not a great place to be when you have stagflation. That's an understatement, isn't it? I think you don't have to go to Harvard or Yale or anywhere else to understand when prices are high, people are hurting. That earlier report from CNN and those numbers from the financial world have Washington, D.C. in a panic today. And we still have trial after trial and Trump rally after Trump rally and Puddinhead talking at a VFW with 20 people. It's only going to get worse. I'm not a political consultant. I don't work on anyone's campaign. But if they asked me and they wanted to pay me, I would say drop all these trials right now. But at the same time, I'd like to see more of the trials keep happening because they seem to be benefiting Donald Trump more and more. Everybody can see it's not working for Dementia Joe. And then this happened on MSNBC as well.
I'm curious for what Jen Psaki's reaction would have been like if she was still in the White House when she heard President Biden blurt out during a live interview that he was going to debate. Because Biden's folks don't want him to debate. They don't want to give Trump that platform and risk exposing Biden like that on national TV.
It's cracking me up. They are all freaking out at this point. And it's interesting what he just said there. Understand, I want to give you, here's a news flash. Donald Trump already has a massive platform. He's holding huge rallies. He's out there every single day after the court hearings talking to the nation. He's got his own social network on Truth Social. He's got an army of people on Twitter and X. And we all know that you have to hide Dementia Joe. There's no way you want to expose him. We understand that. Everybody knows that. There's no way you can put him on a debate stage against Donald Trump. It would be a bloodbath. Trump would absolutely destroy Papa Puddinhead. Right now, Dementia Joe and his team are staring into an abyss that they can't climb out of. And as I've said, it's only going to get worse. Oh, and if that's not enough, there was a little bit of breaking news today that I'm sure is causing liberal heads in Washington to absolutely explode. So that news, late this afternoon, Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis held a private meeting here in Miami. You know that's freaking people out. You know the rhinos are like, oh my God. And you know the left is like, oh my God, because the two of them coming together, talk about a formidable team. I know there's some smoothing over that has to happen, but can you even imagine if these two guys decide to be on the same ticket? I know there's a few obstacles because they can't both reside in Florida, but that's easy to overcome. Just imagine if Ron DeSantis is Donald Trump's pick for vice president. While there's no doubt that Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis coming together would be an earthquake for rhinos, it would be Armageddon for the left. I'm not sure exactly what transpired at that meeting, but once people start getting the news out, I'll be sure to keep you posted. And down here in South Florida, as we talk about it with the local media, if anything breaks, I'll be sure to let you know. That would be kind of awesome. Let me know what you think. Now, don't forget, this Wednesday night, 5:30, I go live with the Donald Trump rally out at Freeland, Michigan, Saginaw County, Michigan. I'd love for you to join me. Just click right here. It'll take you to the live broadcast page where you can click to be notified so you don't miss it when I go live on Wednesday night at 5:30. What a day. This is Sunday. I thought I was taking the day off, but boom, everything happened. Talk to you soon.